Hello, everybody. Welcome to Terrain Talks. I'm your host, Billy Terrain, and in today's video, we'll be talking about the process. So, one thing you wouldn't know in my past video was that I ended up running into an issue or error while trying to figure out and learn some of the fundamentals of GitHub. And so, the error that I ran into was an error when I was trying to do a pull request in which I was told that my main branch with inside of my repository did not have the same commit history as the other branches within the repository. Now, in figuring out how to solve this issue and diving into the issue, I did learn a lot about not only the relationships between the repository, commits, branches, as well as the pull request, and commit history, which is something I was completely unaware of while learning all these new things. But it showed me how important it is to manage all of it. And if you do not pay attention or keep up with everything, then everything can end up falling apart or you'll get errors in that. And so in this video, what I plan on doing is explaining how I broke down the issue and solved it, but also in a more simpler manner. So as you see in front of us, we have a repository. And let's treat a repository like it's a classroom, right? So what's some things that we have in a classroom? We have teachers, students, things of that nature. And so this repository that I have right here, I actually created from a template of another repository. And so let's say I took a classroom and I took all the things within inside the classroom, so the students and the teacher, and I put them in a different classroom. And we're going to call the branches here the student and the teachers. So the main branch will be our teacher, and these branches right here will be the students. So if I went to pull request right now and clicked new pull request, as you can see here, I changed this to test. We'll call test the student, right? You'll see that this says there isn't anything to compare, right? Because I didn't do any new commits. But more importantly, main and test are entirely different commit histories. And so in my mind, when I first saw that none of my branches had the same commit history as my main branch, it made me think, like, what was wrong? Did I do something wrong? And at the time, I was trying to do like a little tutorial to get through it, and I was stuck. So I went on the internet and I was looking up what are commit histories, right? I've never heard of commit histories. I knew a commit was a change within inside of the branches, right? But I didn't understand necessarily what a commit history was until I learned that a commit history is simply a record of all the changes within the repository as well as the branches. And so when I learned that, I was still confused because I'm like, I thought I took the template of another repository and made my own repository. It should have everything. There should be a history. And I was talking to ChatGPT, bouncing off ideas with it. And I finally get down to the answer. And so let's bring it back to the more simple terms. So we have our classroom. We have our students. We'll call them student tests, Copilot, in my branch, my first branch. And then we have the teacher as main. And so imagine that we took all the people from one class and brought them to a new class, except there's one kicker, which is that the main branch or our teacher actually isn't the same teacher. And if anything, it's the teacher's twin brother. Looks exactly like the teacher, has the same name as the teacher, but it's his twin brother. So the relationship that he has with the students is completely different than the original teacher's relationship with the students. And so the way this actually works is the reason why I ended up getting the reason why I ended up getting main and test are entirely different commit histories is because of the fact that because I took the template of the repository, what ended up happening was GitHub took the entire structure of the repository that I was using the template of, but they did not take the commit history that came along with that repository. And what I also ended up doing was not only taking the default branches along with it, but I took all the branches. So what I ended up doing was taking the structure of branches from another repository with a main branch that has no commit history at all. So in other words, like I said, we don't have the original teacher. We have the teacher's twin brother that doesn't know any of the students. So he has no history with these students. Therefore, when they try to interact with each other, it's awkward. They don't know what they're doing. But one thing I was able to figure out was, let's say we get a new student, and we're going to call this new student Bill. Right? Oh, my apologies, guys. Let me try that again. We're going to make a new student. We're going to call him Billy. Now, Billy's new to the class. And let's say we create a file within Billy. We're going to name the file, I'm just going to say test.md. File's going to say, hi, I'm new to the class. Hi, I'm new to the class. And what we're going to do is we're going to commit the change. Just test.md. And so now when I go to pull request and I try to create a new pull request, but I do it under Billy, our new student, imagine that I'm now able to go along with the pull request. I can create the pull request. And as you can see, I could even merge. And what I'm basically learned in that situation was, because of the fact that we have this main branch with no commit history, right? Or, like I said, that twin sibling with no relationship with anybody else, it doesn't mean that he can't have a relationship with anybody else. Or it doesn't mean that the new main branch can't have any commit history. So anything that I add new to the repository in terms of branches and commits, now we'll be able to have a history with the main branch, allowing me to do pull requests and eventually even merge. And it was kind of taking that approach that, again, helped me solve this issue. And I was working on this for a while. But that'll be the end of the video, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this. And until next time.